Okay folks, Mike's Ultra-Rad beer review. Today, Mike's Ultra-Rad Homebrew. I'm making some hard apple cider. Oh yeah. I've done this before. It's about the easiest thing you can brew. It's basically just apple cider, yeast, and weight. That's all you really have to do. Today I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm going to do 100% acai pomegranate juice for 1 of the gallons of the mixture. So yeah, let's get this thing started. Alright, for all you noobs in brewing beer, just to let you know, a couple things. You want to make sure things are very cleanly. There's sanitation stuff you can buy at the brew store, or you can use bleach or what have you. But try to make sure everything you're using in the brew process is clean and sanitized. Now what I'm doing right here, I didn't do last time. I'm heating up about half gallon of the apple juice and throwing in this package of brown sugar here to boost the alcohol percentage by adding a little bit more sugar. Last time I just used no extra sugar at all. It was just the sugar that came naturally from the apple juice. But this time I'm going to add brown sugar for a little bit of flavor and for a little, more sugar for a higher alcohol content. The juice that you use, whatever brand it is, should just be 100% juice, no additives or preservatives. Okay, today I'm using just some cheap yeast, some Munton's Premium Gold Active Brewing Yeast. It's just powdered yeast. I've got some water that's warm but not hot. Generally, over 75, 80 degrees, you can start to kill yeast. So you want it to be kind of warm so they can activate, but not too hot there. There's different kinds of yeast you can get. You can get champagne yeast. You can get all sorts of more expensive things, but I'm trying to keep it simple. If you don't want to go to a brew store, you can get baker's yeast, but from what I've heard, it will not taste good. So, pour that in there, get it all activated so we can pitch it here in a minute. Okay, got all my juice in there. This is an ale pail. It's basically just a food grade bucket. You probably use a pickle bucket if you didn't want to go out and buy anything new. As you see right here, it shows the gallons. This is for a 5-gallon recipe, so I've got it about a half a gallon above 5 gallons because there's going to be some sediment and some dead yeast in the bottom of this when we go to put it in the bottling bucket or the secondary fermenter, and we want to filter out as much of that as possible, and you're going to lose a little bit of juice. Okay folks, pitching the yeast. There it goes right there. Try to get as much out as possible. See, it's already kind of freaking out and expanding, going nuts. Soon here it's going to be creating all sorts of CO2 and oxygen and nuts, crazy alcohol. If I had an aerator right now, I'd probably aerate this thing, but it's not 100% necessary, so I'm not going to worry about it. Let's get the lid on this. Okay, this is an airlock, and what that's used for is the yeast is going to eat the sugar. It's going to create gas and alcohol. And you got to let the gas get out somehow without leaving the top wide open to contaminate your beer there. So what we do is we have this little airlock, and then there's little holes in the top of it, and the gas gets out that way. Sometimes you'll need like a blow-off, runoff tube if your yeast is really active and really creating a lot of activity. It didn't really happen last time on the wine, so I'm not worried about it right here, the apple wine rather. So yeah, here in a couple hours, that thing should be bubbling like crazy. Okay, it's probably a little bit dark, but if you're doing things right, you should be getting some carbonation, some gases coming out from the fermentation there. Now, all you beer makers, I know when I have made beer, like when I made this coffee stout, generally it's going to take 5 to 15 hours to ferment. Be patient on this one and don't freak out, because I know I've done this twice, and both times it's taken at least 24 hours to start getting some bubbling. And it's usually not very strong, but it lasts for, 4 or 5 days. So, yep, things are going good. Okay, it's been a couple weeks. Fermentation's completely done. And now I'm going to take this thing called the auto siphon and siphon what we have here to make sure we don't get any sediment or any trude into the bottling bucket. Works really easy. You just pump it a couple times. I'll show you how that works, and then liquid transfers, and you get a lot less sediment than if you just dumped it. Alright, here we go. Got our bottling bucket, got our siphon. Okay, took a couple pumps, but there we go. And that should do that. I think it lasts, you can get all 5 gallons down in about 4.5 minutes. And then it's transferred here in the bucket with a minimal amount of sediment. Alright guys, got my bottle set up, dumping in the brown sugar to help with the bottling conditioning. Okay, now for bottling. I've got about 50 fresh clean bottles, and it's pretty easy. You just put it in there, let it pour. And once it gets up to about, an inch before you cap, you just let her rip. Make sure you don't get a whole bunch of foam in there, and you're all good. Do that times 50 and you got it done. Okay, now we've got pretty much the majority of the beer poured into the bottles. I'm just going to go over capping real quick. Got this little capper right here. It's a little tool that helps me do that. Bottle them things, bag of them things rather, and let's take that like so. Go like this. Oh yeah. Let that chill for a few weeks, and then we have a delicious beverage. Okay guys, in a couple weeks we'll be doing a tasting of this. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching this video. I know it ran on kind of long. So email me for if you want to give me a PayPal donation or a beer trade or just a beer donation to the show. Thanks a lot. This is Mike.